I'm going to use my second home screen for widgets. So my first home screen will be for apps. I swipe right. My second home screen will be for widgets. And the obvious question is, what is a widget? A widget is a very stripped down version of an app. And one way to explain this is to compare the Apple Weather app with the Apple Weather widget. And I've got both of them on this screen. So the small icon is the Apple Weather app. If I tap on it, I open the app. I see the weather forecast for my home city, and it's a very detailed weather forecast. I can tap on this little directory, these three lines in the bottom right corner, and I can see all of the cities I've added to this weather app. I can scroll down and pick Seattle, for instance, and I can see the detailed forecast for Seattle. So I'm going to close my weather app. And now at the top of the screen, I've got my Apple Weather widget, and it shows me a brief weather forecast, just the daily forecast for Phoenix. If I tap on it, it takes me into the weather app. So now I've got the detailed weather forecast for Phoenix. I can tap on the directory in the bottom right corner and choose a different city. But now look what happens when I close this by swiping up. It's going to take me back to the widget, and the widget is going to default back to Phoenix. So I could use this widget to get into the weather app, but that's sort of a roundabout way of getting into the weather app, because the real purpose of this widget is for me just to look at it and get a very brief weather forecast for Phoenix. I'm really not going to use the widget to drill down to get a lot of details. So that gives you some idea of the difference between an app and a widget. And now that I've got a widget on my second home screen, I don't need to keep my weather app here any longer as a placeholder. So I'm going to press on the screen to get into editing mode. And now I'm going to tap, hold, and drag the weather app back to the home screen. And I'll tap to get out of editing mode. So now I've got one home screen for my apps and another home screen for my widgets. And in later lessons, we'll talk about adding more widgets.